Well, the hopes of the Running Utes making March Madness and the NCAA tournament in this 2024 basketball season surely are looking much more slim than they were about a month ago and even just a week ago. Following two pretty devastating road losses to close out Pac 12 play in the final season of Pac 12 men's basketball as we know it, of course, falling short to Oregon State and Oregon on the road did not help our chances of sneaking into March Madness and making that NCAA tournament. So, extremely upsetting stuff, especially as we all sit here and we know the potential this team could have been and could have lived up to was much greater than what they did. Right, the results on paper and the results of a lot of these games on the road as well as at home. For a couple of them, they just weren't what we knew they could have been, and once we wrapped up non-conference play back in December, a lot of those guys who are NCAA bracket predictors, um, as well as Utah fans, as well as just fans of college basketball in general, had the Runnin' Utes predicted to go to March Madness and end that 7-season drought of not making the tournament. That was just what was expected of these Utes, these Runnin' Utes, and for some reason, I don't know if it's Craig Smith. I don't know if it's an older team who needs some fresh faces running the ball down the court. I don't know what it is, but something is not working in the second half of the season, right? We started last year out, Pac-12 play, we started out great. Non-conference play, we started out great, and then just fell apart once it became, January and for the rest of the season. Same exact situation we're in this year. We started out playing really, really well this year, and we showed a lot of flashes of really a great team. And I think that we still are a great team as it stands now, but really just shot ourselves in the foot late in the Pac-12 play. When we wrapped up our home games of the season against Stanford and Cal in two blowout victories, we were still predicted by a few to be sort of those, one of those last four in teams. We were still on the bubble, but it's as we stand now, we are having a hard time even reaching. We're having a hard time even sniffing the bubble right now because at this point, all we can really hope for as Utah fans and all the team can really hope for is a pretty miraculous run in the Pac-12 tournament. We saw that bracket just got released yesterday. Our first opponent going to be the 11 seed Arizona State. Very beatable team, so we definitely have the ability to get that round one victory taken care of and hopefully build a little bit of momentum. I know I was talking about that in the last episode, the need to build momentum to close out Pac-12 regular conference play. But now all we can really pray for and hope this team can put together is some good momentum in this now postseason play, right, in the Pac-12 tournament. Because at this point, we're just simply we're not a bubble team anymore. Devastating losses to Oregon State and Oregon sort of removed us from being a bubble team. And so now essentially we are relying on an auto bid, which means we have to win the conference in the Pac-12 tournament this week. So that's a tough pill to swallow because the way we've been playing sure makes it seem like we don't really have much of a chance of getting that job done. But there is one thing that we can kind of look at and one little bit of hope, and that is that the bracket that got released has us playing Arizona State, again, the 11 seed in Arizona State in round one. And if we can get that job done, we don't have to face Arizona in the semis, right? Or in the quarters, sorry. We would move on to face Colorado, who has the round one bye. If we can get the job done against Arizona State, we will face the Buffaloes, maybe with a little bit of momentum built up in Vegas. Hopefully we would be able to get that job done against Colorado, right? I know my prediction was to handily get the victory over Colorado on the road to, in that fourth to last conference game. Wasn't the case. Colorado has been playing extremely well lately. They're firing on all cylinders in this latter half of the season. They are a team that is determined to get out of the bubble and be a team that is a lock for March Madness. So Colorado playing extremely well. However, if the Utes, again, can get the job done against Arizona State, I think we do have a shot at revenge and a shot at a victory against Colorado. And then moving on, if the bracket holds up, I believe it would be potentially a Washington State matchup or something like that, in the semis there. So we shall see. The fate of this 2023-24 Runnin Utes team is really on the line here this week. And so going to be very important that everybody tunes in tomorrow night, Wednesday, March 13th, to watch that first round against Arizona State in the Pac-12 tournament. But before we get too ahead of ourselves in talking about the tournament, what went wrong in this Oregon State game and the Oregon game? Why was it that we just weren't able to get the job done in either of those matchups, even though it looked as though we should have won both of those games, right? Both of those games we were, well, at least in the Oregon State game, we started the game with a sizable lead in early minutes, and we looked like we were going to be able to handle that team with ease. Then all of a sudden, the Beavers got hot. Every guy had a hot hand. Their heat checks were all falling for them, and the Utes just fell apart. It's really what it boiled down to. I don't really know what happened to our team in that game, especially coming off those two blowout victories at home where everything was working. Our team was firing on all cylinders. Our guys were connected. They were playing with that chemistry that we know they have. And they just looked like they had that fire in their eyes to prove it to everybody that, hey, don't rule us out yet. We will be able to win out and go make a splash in the Pac-12 tournament. And then we do deserve to be in March Madness. That's what it looked like in those last two home games. But going into Oregon State, and even going into the Oregon State game, it looked like we had that same fire in our eyes. And some switch just flipped early in the first half. And as soon as Oregon State built up a double-digit lead, it was game over. You could just tell that our guys didn't really seem like they had it in them to pull it out, to get that comeback working and to make it happen in the second half. Now, I believe the halftime lead for Oregon State was 15 or 17 points or something like that. It doesn't really matter because at that point it's such a sizable lead that it would take a lot to happen. Now, anything can happen, and basketball is a game of runs, and we've seen larger comebacks than that. But with the way our team looked heading into halftime, just knew it was going to be more than a struggle to find a way to bounce back and come back for that game. But actually, we're able to put together a decent comeback, but it just was too little too late, right? I think with about 5 minutes left in the game, we got it down to single digits. We got the score back down to a single digit lead for Oregon State, excuse me. But and then all of our shots started falling, of course, with just a few minutes left on the clock. And again, too little too late. At that point, they had already built their lead back up into the double digits. And again, it just wasn't enough. We tried to play the foul game, and you can only go so far when it comes down to having to foul the other team. So Oregon State was a very interesting upset loss that should not have gone the way it went. But nevertheless, the reaction of the coaches, the assistant coaches, and everybody in that locker room on the road with that team was definitely going to be important heading into Oregon, because Oregon is a team very similar to the Utes that had been playing well, but not amazing, right? They were slightly better than the Utes in conference play, but that game, we knew we had a fair chance. I mean, looking at it on paper, we had a better chance of beating Oregon State. But if you take every game, you one step at a time, tomorrow's a new day. You look at that next Oregon game, hey, we can still go out there. We can play at the Nat Arena and we can get it done, right? And so the reaction from the coaches and everybody in that locker room needed to be, to focus on the present and just put that Oregon State game behind you. The task at hand is still to win out and go make some damage happen in the Pac-12 tournament. And it looked like we came out that way. Early in the game, we were down pretty heavily. Kind of brought it back into pretty level. We took the lead a couple times. And then, in the second half, early in the second half, Brandon Carlson unfortunately was injured, right? We saw the play, kind of got his left elbow wrapped up by the Oregon center. Can't remember his name, but definitely hurt us in the sense that you're coming off fresh off that Oregon State loss. You're battling to try to build a sizable lead and to try to keep the momentum to close that victory out against the Oregon Ducks. And then your best player, your glue guy, your sixth-year captain, senior player who knows the offense better than anyone out there, goes down with an injury early in the second half. And most teams would shudder at that and just put their heads down and be really worried. I don't think that was the case for our Runnin Utes, and I was actually very pleasantly surprised by how we responded to Brandon Carlson going down. Right, we built that 10-0 run nearly after he had gone down with injury, with guys like Keba Keita and Lawson Levering having to finish that game out as the big man, and Ben Carlson, of course. So definitely, it really sucks to have watched Brandon Carlson go down in the last regular season game of Pac-12 play. Praying that his status is likely to return heading into tomorrow night in Vegas, because it's going to make a very, very large difference if Brandon Carlson is not on the court for the Pac-12 tournament. And Craig Smith, Craig Smith reviewed the play, and he said in the post game press conference that in watching the play back where he got injured, it was a basketball play. There was no malintent from the Oregon big man, and so it happens, right? It's an injury. It's a sport. It's a contact sport, and so obviously you're going to get guys who go down with injury, right? We've been dealing with it all year in Raleigh Wooster. Luckily, had Davon Smith and Gabe Madsen and guys like that stepping up to kind of make up for the lack of Raleigh Wooster, but it's going to be extra difficult to make up for a lack of Brandon Carlson if he is unable to return before tomorrow night. So really going to be keeping an eye on what Craig Smith has to say, what the coaching staff has to say, and just if there's any news updates or anything like that, injury reports before the game tomorrow, because we absolutely need Brandon Carlson to be healthy in this Pac-12 tournament if we want to cling on to the prayer and the hope of winning the Pac-12 tournament to get that NCAA tournament automatic bid. So what does it look like if Brandon Carlson is unable to return before the Pac-12 tournament kicks off here tomorrow? What will it look like for this team? What will the message be from Craig Smith to his guys in his locker room that he knows are definitely going to be playing? And I know he was talking in an interview just sort of about, hey, what do you say to these guys at this point, right? Leading into the Pac-12 tournament. What do you tell the guys on your team in order to instill a sense of confidence and belief in going and getting the job done still at this point? And something that Craig Smith said that really stuck with me, and I say it all the time here on this show, that is believe in the Utes, keep believing in them. I'm believing in them. I'm always talking about believing in the Utes and in the Runnin Utes, because again, that is the name of the game around here on Believe in Utes. But Craig Smith did say that at this point anything can happen, and you have to believe that you can do it, and you have to go out there, and every minute that you're on the court, you have to continue to believe that anything can happen and that you are capable of getting that job done. You've got to believe in the training. You've got to believe in yourself. You've got to believe in the way you practice, the way you prepare. You got to, when you're going to sleep at night, you better be believing in the job that you're going to do the next day, right? And so, I think that that Craig Smith was able to see that belief sort of showing through in his team on Saturday against the Oregon Ducks, because again, we looked really good in the Oregon game. And I don't know that I said that before, but I do believe that we looked very good in the Oregon game. Just not quite good enough, but our guys were playing much, much better than they were in the Oregon State game. we had a better connectivity. We had a better sense of rhythm. Shots were falling. Our leaders out there, our communicators, they were doing a good job of making sure everyone stayed just dialed in for the majority of the game. Now, of course, shooting, I can't say we looked too great in because it came down to the final shot. Ben Carlson did have that corner three opportunity, but nevertheless, as long as Ben Carlson believed that corner three was going to go in to beat the Oregon Ducks, that's really all we can do at this point. Every single shot that goes up, our guys have to believe are going to fall. Every single game winner, every single pass, every single alley-oop, every single block, rebound, no matter what it is, everything that our team does now from here on out, they have to do with a sense of purpose and a great sense of belief, because again, it is possible. And I love what Craig Smith said in the fact that, anything can happen. That's why they call it March Madness. And we've been able to see some miracle, some miracle sporting outcomes in the last handful of years as Utah fans, right? It started back in 2021 where, Charlie Brewer was the quarterback for the football team, and we started out 1-2 in the football season in 2021, and everybody had started to look away from the Utes, and no one wanted to go to the games, and everyone thought, oh, this is going to be such a disappointing season bouncing off the COVID year. And then sure enough, the miracle of Cam Rising and our Lord and Savior Cam Rising, right? He came into play, and our team turned things around. And next thing you know, we're in the Pac-12 championship. We win it against Oregon to beat Oregon twice. And then we go on to the Rose Bowl, where we had a pretty miraculous game, even though the outcome didn't go the way we hoped in 2021 against Ohio State. Amazing game to watch, one of the most entertaining college football games of all time, in my opinion. And then 2022, same thing, right? Kind of started out slow, and then we were able to get the job done and go win another Pac-12 championship with Cam Rising and go to another Rose Bowl. Again, came up a little bit short, but we made it to those big moments, right? We were able to overcome doubts and overcome losses and things of that nature and get to the big game and get to the big stage. And so the big stage at this point is winning a Pac-12 tournament in Vegas for basketball. It's going to be very difficult, and that's just plain and simple. That's the truth. We would have liked to win the last ever Pac-12 football championship in Vegas this year, but that wasn't the case. We won 2 of the final 3. Maybe we've got a little bit of miracle left in us as we wrap up our history in the Pac-12 as a Utah fan base, a Utah athletics department, and these Utah student athletes who know that these are going to be the last time they wear a Pac-12 patch on their chest. So you just never know. There might be another miracle in the tank. Maybe we can go out there and get the job done in Vegas starting tomorrow against Arizona State. It does. It starts tomorrow, one day at a time, one shot at a time, 1 point at a time. We've just got to get the job done tomorrow. Very, very doable. If we can't get the job done against Arizona State, we did not deserve to be in the tournament. And that's as simple as that can be. But I think we can do it. And I think we do deserve to be. I don't even know if I want to say that, because I personally think, watching this team and knowing what they're capable of, I think they are a tournament caliber team. But falling short in some of these games that they have, it really makes me want to say that we don't necessarily deserve to be in March Madness. But as a fan and as a believer in these guys, and as someone who sees the potential in this team in the postseason, I pray that we get the job done in Vegas and can move on to March, or to the rest of March, and just at least dip our feet into March Madness and playing in some first 4 in games. So that's where we stand with that, right? And another thing to think about and talk about, and everyone in the Utah community is talking about it, and in the basketball community, is what's going to happen to Craig Smith if if we lose to Arizona State, or if we only win that game and then fall to Colorado and go to the NIT tournament again. I mean, what does the future look like for Craig Smith? Now we know his contract runs until 2026-27 season, right? But just like Coach K, you can, as a coach with a contract, you can still be terminated for lack of results at any point. So, are they is Mark Harlan in the athletic department, are they going to give Craig Smith one last chance in the first season of the Big 12, which of course is the basketball conference? Are they going to see what he can kind of muster up and put together as far as a recruiting standpoint in this offseason? Who can we pull in from other schools to fill in from the likes of guys like Brandon Carlson, Gabe Madsen, Dave Vaughn, all those seniors who are going to be departing ways? Those are some big shoes to fill. So I'm very interested to see how this season wraps up, not just in the sense of because I want to see where we can go in the postseason after, a roller coaster of an up and down regular season. But I'm also curious to see what that final stat is, right? What was our final record? What accolades did the 2024 season bring in? Because ultimately those are the things that will give us a better idea and a better sense of Craig Smith's future. So I think he's a great coach, and I think he's got, I think he does have the mindset and the culture and the attitude to turn the Utah program into a winning program and into a tournament caliber program again. But in his first two seasons, I think there was maybe some empty promises, right? Or I think he thought coming into this Utah program that he would have more wins and more accolades under his belt at this point. So again, very interested to see where the future for Craig Smith lies. And I think we will have a much better sense or a better feeling of that, by the end of next week. So I think that's enough of the basketball talk for now until we can get into tomorrow night. Once that game is wrapped up, I will, we'll sort of take another look at things, and I'll kind of come back and check in with all of you guys again, and we'll sit here and we'll talk about, the future for not only Craig Smith, but the future for our Runnin Utes as a whole heading into the Big 12 next season. And just praying and believing that this can be a well-finished final season in the Pac-12. A historic conference. We've made a great splash over the last 10 plus years in the Pac-12. And I pray that we can get some exciting things done here, but we'll see. The best is yet to come undone, or everything's about to fall apart. So we're all in this together, Utes fans. Thanks for checking in and for stopping by and giving this a listen. Good luck, right? Let's all give each other some good luck. Let's all be cheering loudly from home or from Vegas. I wish I was in Vegas right now to go root those guys on, but if you're in Vegas, have a blast. If not, we'll cheer loud from our homes. We'll yell at our TVs, and we'll keep believing in the Runnin Utes and hoping for some miracles to happen. All right, that's it from me. Thanks again for checking out Believe in Utes with Jake Popoff. I'll talk to y'all soon. Go Utes.